started hanging out during the summer, catching up, and we were at this dinner and we just started talking more. And he's like, man, like we were just talking about. He has this national Parks water bottle where you put stickers. On where you've been.
Some people would do that on their Subaru.
Yeah,
I see a lot of Subarus and Jeeps that are like that.
And so I was like, oh, dude, sick, Yosemite. Like, you've been there? He's like, yeah, I've been here this time. And I was like, dude, I've never been. Like, sounds so cool. I was like, and I looked up on my phone. I was like, it's like 8 hours away. I'm like, let's do it.
Yeah.
And it was like 11 at night.
Let's just go.
So we went to his house, picked up some of his family's camping gear, road tripped from San Diego right here all the way 8 hours north through the night. And we started talking. I'm like, hey, dude, what's your church about?
Yeah.
I was like,
what caused you to ask that question? What was it? Was there like a desire? Was there like just
I really don't know what started it. I think, I was just trying to, I think with every road trip, you find it gets awkward at a certain point. You're
isolated.
Yeah. You're like, there's no one else here to like join the conversation. And you're just like,
it's like a let's get real moment.
Yeah. So I was like, I think we were getting to that point where it was like all jokes. We got over the fact of like, oh, we're doing this and we're driving. And so, we knew we had time to kill. And so I just asked him about his church. I was like, hey, dude, like, what's this about? And we started comparing the Catholic Church, which I was a part of at the time for 21 years, kind of lukewarm, I would say. Like, go to church December, Christmas, Easter, but not really consistently.
Right.
And so, and I think our first conversation was a really funny one. He talks about these priests in his church blessing the sacrament, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like, how old are your priests? He's like, 12. And I'm like, what? I'm like, 12 years old. I was like, dude, ours are like 80.
Yeah.
I was like, this is crazy. And so that was like a great first conversation. And Zach actually has probably like 2.5 hour voice recording of it on his old phone that he left in San Diego. And so, I'll definitely have to listen to that sometime.
That's awesome.
Good. But, after that, we just talked. I mean, it was great. And I would FaceTime him at night after reading some parts of the Book of Mormon, after, really thinking about the doctrine, because again, I'm 21 years old at the time, trying to relearn a whole new book, whole new doctrine.
While he's telling you these things on this road trip, did you like recognize a feeling? Was it just you and your friend? Like, was it you being buddies, or was it different?
No, the spirit was there, 100%. There's like, it was like so calm. Like it's like out of a movie almost. Like the road's dark. It's pretty much empty. There's a couple cars here and there. You're driving through nothingness basically. Right. And it's just me and my friend with a bunch of camping gear in the back, talking for hours, 4 or 5 hours,
I think
6
like
hours.
You made yourself vulnerable.
Yeah.
You trusted that individual, right? Yeah. I think we should paint a picture here for the listeners and for each other to be able to recognize where it is. There's a why, a fork in the road. Yeah. Of you were doing all these things and you needed to make a change. You switched schools, right? There are people in this life that will completely change their hair. They will associate with different friends. They'll get a new job. Their life is not going how they would like it to, and they say, I need to make a change. They make a temporary fix, and inevitably they still don't feel how they want to. Yeah. Some people, I have tattoos. Some people might go get more. Say, I need to get tattoos. I need to scratch that itch. You have tattoos. I know you kind of recognize that feeling. Yeah. But whether it be substances, whether it be whatever it might be, okay? I think what we're recognizing is that sense of vulnerability you have to change your hairstyle or to do something isolated, we're asking you to make that change. And by you, it's like a generalization. Yeah. To make that change towards God, to isolate yourself, be vulnerable with Him. You can still change your hairstyle. Yeah. I think that's just a metaphor or a analogy that I like to use, but make that change to God. And I think you yourself in this situation, you found yourself doing that, and being able to compare apples to apples. What's your life like now compared to your glory days of college, right? As a lot of people would refer to it.
so different.
Mm-hmm.
A year is not a lot of time,
Mm-hmm.
but man, there's been a lot of change.
Yeah.
I think me and my friends and even myself, like I
Mm-hmm.
look back at photos of me a year ago and I'm like, what was I doing?
Right.
Like, I don't even like look the same either. Like,
you could view them as progress pics.
yeah. You know, some people do gym pictures,
Right.
with spiritual gym
pictures.
Yeah.
There we go.
And so I think this is the best season of life I've ever been in. Best year I've ever had.
Why?
I have had the chance to have such a personal relationship with Christ at age 22, 21, that, you know, I'm not gonna lie, I feel frustrated at sometimes. I'm like, why wasn't I born with this? Why wasn't I raised with this? Why wasn't I born in the covenant? But I think ultimately I look back and I'm like, you know what, I'm glad this happened, because I am so grateful for it now, and I treasure it so much that you know it's great. And so it gives me a new perspective on a lot of things. You know, things that, even the small things, like I'm like, someone cuts me off in the road, I'm not gonna dwell on it. I'm not gonna be upset. I look at it from a different perspective. I'm like, they're probably in a rush. You know, you start to see the best in people. You start to kind of, each day you live for Christ, you start to embody him more and more. And I think that's what I love about the gospel. And so I think expanding on your question, I have, you know, some sucky things have happened, but, you know, sucky things happen in all of our lives.
Right.
Everybody watching. But so much good has outweighed that suckiness. I have gained a new group of friends.
So let's continue to paint that picture, because I think it's important that people realize what you've gone through and what, like, sacrifice is a huge thing, so much that God felt it necessary to send his only begotten son, Jesus Christ, for you, you know, right? For them, for all of us. And so throughout this process, you've had to make some sacrifices. And what, you know, that suckiness, what does that look like? What is that?
You know, it stinks, you know, family. I'm not going to go too in depth with it, but, you know, family not being supportive, you know, it's tough. You know, the people that you love and care for and your own blood doesn't support you, it hurts, you know, and hearing all of the preconceived notions that you already kind of washed away in your mind about the church, you know, you can brush it off. You can be like, no, that's not true. But every day for months and a year, you know, it starts to dig at you a little bit. And that's the really tough thing, because I love these people. But, you know, hearing these things, you know, it hurts me, because ultimately they don't have the experience that I've had with the church. Nothing but great things. I know that Christ is real and true, and that the church is. But, you know, hearing that and being like, you just come to church, like, experience it. Like, it's like a game of telephone. Like, you're not gonna, or like even like any experience. Like, if I tell you about a movie that I saw, it's not gonna be the same as you watching the movie yourself. And
I would walk away and say, oh, okay. And then go about my day.
There's no feelings. It's just
no connection, no feelings.
No, you don't get all the details, like nothing. You get some main plot points, and then there's no other real feelings associated with it. But yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, I think, like, even with Christ, right? If we're talking to people about Christ, which you will be here soon, going on your mission, you can tell people all day, oh, he was a guy that came down. You know, he actually healed some blind people. He made some paralyzed people walk. It's pretty cool. You know, you should look into it. People are gonna be like, wow, that's crazy, and then go back to their day, go surf, right? But if you say, hey, come experience who this individual is, it's those experiences, it's those feelings that you step out of your comfort zone and are willing to try. You and I have found that we didn't have any more options. You know, we had tried everything we wanted to do, pretty much at the same age too, and it led us to a brick wall, and we didn't have any more options. So we were willing. You know, what would you say to the people that are in the middle of that right now?
I say, you know, just trusting God's plan, but also just read the scriptures, come to church, try it once. You know, we do not care. We, as in speaking about the church, any church, no matter where you are, whether you're in San Diego, Alabama, overseas, like, we don't care. Like, they're all, what I love about the church is it's the same everywhere. You know, it'll still, of course, we're not talking about literal people, like,
right.
We're not gonna have an Elder Barker everywhere, but, you know,
I wish I could be everywhere.
yeah, that'd be cool. But the church, in everything, the sacrament, classes are all the same, and so that's what I love about our church. But I would say just try it once. Read the Book of Mormon, even if it's a chapter, a verse. Read the Bible, a chapter, a verse. Go to church once, even if you're struggling with something, addiction, you know, substance abuse, like anything. Like, just try it, because, you know, you're gonna, hopefully you get a feeling, and you might not. That's like part of his plan is, you know, he's either gonna make you feel a great feeling, or, you know, maybe it's later down the road that you know, you feel that feeling. Everybody's, how they meet Christ and how they experience Christ is so different.
Right.
And, you know, it can be a vast difference, so you may not be able to relate to everyone. But I think just try it. Like, get out of your comfort zone. I think right now, everything that I've had to do that has been a miracle in my life or has made me progress has been uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It has not been easy.
Nothing good in life comes easy.
Yeah.
You know, you don't grow in your comfort zone. I think that's something that realistically the world can recognize. You don't get bigger muscles if you don't go to the gym. You don't get better at racing your car if you don't get out there on the track and go at some uncomfortable speeds. You know, it's like all of these analogies you could come up with. Why don't we think it applies spiritually? You know, it does.
Yeah. I think with the one thing, another message I'd need to add to that is, like, God loves effort. You know, make tiny steps. You know, if you're a little scared to go to church, pick up a Book of Mormon, read a verse every day, start to build it up. Be like, wow, that was really good. Let me read 3 verses. Let me read a chapter. And
if you're scared to go to a service, I guarantee there's someone that goes to that church that would love to give you a tour.
Yeah.
Before any service on any day of the week.
Even if you don't want to meet with missionaries, reach out to a member, reach out to a friend you know that's a member. You know, anything. Just walk it, see if the building's open.
Yeah.
Try and walk in yourself. No one's going to kick you out.
Right.
And so, you know, I think there are tiny steps that we can take to show Christ our effort. And, you know, in change, you know, not all the time, but, you know, we can experience blessings. And, you know, I can truly testify of that. Everything that I've experienced, and, you know, I was thinking about it on the way here, on the drive here. I'm like, I'll think of, like, a bad time, but then in a day, a week, or a month, I'm like, man, something good came out of that.
Right.
In a year, something great came out of that. And, you know, with the journey that I've had, 21 years of life, I was like, man, I would redo that whole 21 years if I can experience this 1 year over again. And, you know, it was a tough 21 years too, but I'm willing to redo that just so I can experience all the people I've met, all the experiences that I've had, all the firsts I have, all of the fun, you know, adventures I've had with a like-minded, you know, group.